Alright, today we are going to talk about roots. So, a perfect square is a number made by squaring an integer. So quickly right here, I'm going to fill out this table of perfect squares. 1 squared is 1, 2 squared is 4, 3 squared is 9, 16, 25, 36, 49, 64, 81, 100, 121, 144, 169, 196, 225, 256, 289, 324, 361, and 400. Now remember, when you have a negative times a negative, that still equals a positive. So these should be the same as this. So, a square root of a number is a value that when multiplied by itself gives the number. So squaring and square rooting are inverse operations. Every positive number, so this is important to know, has both a positive and negative square root. So, when we are asking you to find the roots, we are specifically going to ask for certain ones. If we want the positive root, we're just going to have a regular square root sign. If we want the negative square root, we're going to put a negative in front of it. If we want both, we're going to have that plus or minus sign. So the negative square root of 49 is negative 7. The positive and negative square root of 81 hundredths, well, if we ignore the decimal, 81, the square root is 9. So the square root of this is 0.09 and negative 0.09. For the fraction, looks kind of confusing, but really, first I'm just going to look at the square root of 9 is 3, and the square root of 16 is 4. So the square root of 9/16 is 3/4. Here we've got 1 and 21 hundredths. Well, 121, I know square root of that is 11. So the square root of 1 and 21 hundredths is 1 and 1/10. And then here, we're looking for the plus or minus square root of negative 16. If it was just 16, the square root would be 4 and negative 4. But it is a negative number. Can we multiply a number by itself, so multiply a number an even amount of times and get a negative number? No. So this is no solution. So that's square rooting. Now we're going to look at cubes or cube roots. So a cube root of a number is one of its 3 equal factors. So a perfect cube is a number made by cubing an integer. So let's fill out this chart. 1 to the third power is 1, 2 to the third is 8, 3 to the third is 27, 4 to the third is 64, 5 to the third is 125, 6 to the third is 216, 7 to the third is 343, 8 to the third is 512, 9 to the third is 729, and 10 to the third is 1,000. This time, when we've got a negative, well, if you think about it, negative 1 times negative 1 would equal positive 1, and we multiply that by a negative again, that's going to give you a negative result. So when you're cubing a number, it will have a negative value. So all of these are going to be the same, except they are negatives. So your positive or negative answer is going to depend on whatever number is inside the cube root sign. So the cube root of 125 is 5. Since it's a positive answer, it's going to be a positive cube root. The cube root of negative 64, well, we know cube root of 64 is 4, so negative 64 is going to be negative 4. And the cube root of negative 8 is going to be negative